The movie starts with Vic coming back home from cycling. He sees Melinda sitting on the stairs with a small smile. She doesn't say anything and just goes inside, which leaves Vic wondering about her mysterious behavior. In the next scene, days earlier, their young daughter is listening to her favorite song, but her mother scolds her annoyingly. The man enters the room where his wife asks him to pick a dress for her. Later, she requests him to fetch her black shoes, which he does gladly. At the lively party, Melinda suddenly left Vic and went off with Joel Nash, whom she called a close friend. They went to the backyard together for some private time. Vic saw this but didn't react. Even though he saw Melinda and Joel getting cozy, he stayed calm, which was odd. Melinda openly showed affection for Joel and even made fun of Vic in front of everyone, drawing attention from guests like Mary. When Mary asked Vic about Joel, he just said Joel was a friend of Melinda's, not seeming bothered by it. A bit later, their friend Grant told Vic that Melinda was drunk and on the piano. Vic felt embarrassed seeing his wife's drunken behavior in front of everyone. Melinda entertained the guests by singing and playing the piano. During the party, Vic approached Joel, Melinda's lover, who thanked him for allowing their relationship. Though Vic didn't show jealousy, he began recounting stories, mentioning Melinda's past relationship with a man named Martin, who mysteriously disappeared a month ago, suggesting he had killed him. This revelation unsettled Joel, who took it seriously despite Vic's attempt to pass it off as a joke. Joel abruptly left the party after bidding Melinda goodbye. Later, Melinda, noticing Joel's distressed demeanor, questioned Vic about their conversation. Vic lied and said he didn't tell Joel anything. Upon returning home, Vic retreated to the room where he tended to his collection of snails. There he observed the snails reproducing, finding solace in this activity as a means to momentarily escape from the troubles weighing on his mind. The next morning, while Vic was in the kitchen with his daughter, Melinda suddenly remarked that one day their daughter would become a bomb maker like her father. However, Trixie quickly corrected her, saying that her father wasn't a bomb maker but rather a chip maker for military drones. It's worth noting that Vic used to work as a chip maker for military drones, but decided to retire due to sufficient finances, focusing more on activities like cycling and socializing with friends. Later, as Vic was heading home after dropping his daughter off at school, he encountered a friend who accused him of being a murderer. It turns out the news of Vic's conversation with Joel had spread widely in the community. Even his close friends began to question him about the truth of the matter. Grant, one of his friends, advised Vic that it would be better to control his own wife rather than make dangerous jokes at Joel's expense. Later, when Melinda heard about Vic's prank, she became angry with him. She thought it was wrong for Vic to joke or threaten Joel about Martin's disappearance. Melinda decided to invite Joel to dinner at their house and insisted that Vic apologize to him for what he said before. Joe knocks on the door, finding Vic there to greet him. Nervously, Joe asks if Melinda's home, and Vic jokingly replies that she isn't. Later, Vic informs Joe that they'll be enjoying some seafood and conversations, unaware that Joe is allergic to seafood. Melinda knew about Joe's allergy but didn't inform Vic. At the table, Vic makes Joe a grilled cheese sandwich, while Melinda joins in, seemingly trying to upset her husband. She sends Vic to put their daughter to bed and tell her a bedtime story. After putting Trixie to bed, Vic caught Melinda and Joel being intimate downstairs, leaving him visibly upset. Later, when Joel was alone, Vic approached him, and as Joel expected an apology from Vic for joking about killing Mr. McCree, Vic insisted it wasn't a joke. Vic ominously recounted how he supposedly killed Martin with a hammer, making another warning joke before urging Joel to leave immediately to avoid his anger. One day, Vic and his family got invited to a fun party. There, Vic met Don Wilson, a writer known for writing about conspiracy theories, but their chat turned sour when Don didn't like Vic because of his past as a bomb maker. Don even blamed Vic for Martin disappearing, referring to a joke Vic had made before. Even though everyone knew it was just a joke, things got tense. During the dance, Vic asked Kelly, Don's wife, to dance, which surprised everyone since they saw Vic as shy. On the way home, Vic admitted that he found Kelly attractive and easy to talk to. This made Melinda jealous, so she got intimate with Vic in the car, making him moan. Despite being upset, they continued their passionate lovemaking at home. The next day, Vic is seen with Melinda, who's taking Trixie to a soccer match. But soon after, Vic gets a call from the bank. They tell him that Melinda sent $3,000 to someone named Charles for piano lessons. After discovering the transfer to Charles, Vic rushes to his office to investigate. After some time, he learns more about Charles and decides to visit the restaurant where Charles works as a pianist. To his surprise, he finds Melinda there too, intending to watch Charles perform. Seeing this, Vic starts to suspect that Charles might be his wife's new affair. When Vic returned home, he was surprised to find their wedding rings in the sink, indicating that Melinda had taken them off. Then he happened to see a news report about Martin being found dead with a gunshot wound. With a heavy heart, Vic told Melinda about Martin's death, who was still drunk. Upon hearing the news, Melinda was shocked to learn about her favorite person's demise. The next day, Vic gave Trixie a new dog as a surprise. On his way home, he saw Charles carrying flowers, probably for Melinda. Sure enough, when Vic got home, he found the flowers on the dining table, which made him angry, so he threw them away. Later, he talked to a friend saying he was still trying to make things work with Melinda. Meanwhile, Melinda was seen kissing Charles passionately in the car, showing no regard for Vic's feelings. The next day at home, Vic nervously waits for Melinda to return since she hadn't come home all night. He had purposefully left their child with a friend, anticipating that he might get upset with his wife this time. When Melinda finally arrived home, Vic immediately asked her where she had been and about the money she paid to someone named Charles. He was pretty much at his breaking point. He angrily confronted Melinda, demanding she stop seeing her new fling. However, it seemed like Melinda didn't pay attention to what Vic said. Vic and Melinda went to a party where Charles was also there. Melinda introduced Charles to everyone and asked him to play the piano, impressing everyone with his skills. Despite Vic feeling upset watching Melinda and Charles together, the party continued until midnight. Vic noticed Melinda and Charles getting close by the pool, with Melinda seemingly attracted to Charles's popularity. Suddenly, heavy rain forced everyone out of the pool, except for Vic and Charles. Vic then rejoined the party as if nothing had happened, while Charles's body floated in the pool unnoticed. Later, Melinda found Charles's body in the pool and screamed in shock. As they tried to lift Charles out, he slipped and hit his head. The police arrived and investigated. Melinda accused Vic of murder, but others believed Charles' death was an accident, caused by hitting his head on the poolside. Don suspected Charles may have died in the pool. After much debate and no evidence, the police concluded it was an accident, closing the case. A few days later, Vic continued his usual routine, including cycling, but he noticed that someone was watching him from a distance. The same happened when he was at his daughter's school, where Kelly approached him. She revealed her husband suspected him of being involved in Charles's death and often discussed it with Melinda. Upon hearing this, Vic invited both Kelly and Dawn to dinner at his house, hoping to talk privately with Dawn. After the dinner, Vic informed Dawn to stop suspecting him, but Dawn remained convinced of Vic's guilt, although growing fearful of him. The next day, after dropping off Trixie at school, Vic noticed the car he thought had been following him parked outside of a restaurant. When he saw a camera in the car, his suspicion grew stronger. Vic didn't hesitate to enter the restaurant. Inside, he was surprised to find Melinda with the owner of the car. Despite the man introducing himself as David, a psychologist, Vic remained skeptical, suspecting him to be a private investigator hired by Dawn and Melinda. After leaving the restaurant, Vic went to Dawn's house armed with proof of the money transfer Melinda had made to Dawn's account. There, he firmly confronted Dawn, accusing him of meddling in his personal matters, which left Kelly feeling embarrassed and furious with her husband. Later, when Vic was heading home, he once more encountered Melinda with her new boyfriend. On a sunny day, Vic approaches Tony and convinces him that Melinda is waiting for him at a house that they're considering buying. Tony readily believes him and joins Vic. Instead of taking him to the house, Vic drives to a deserted forest near the river where he often cycles. Knowing the area well, Vic speeds into the forest and stops abruptly near the ravine. After Tony gets out of the car, Vic hits him in the head with a rock and then throws a larger rock, causing Tony to fall into the ravine and hit his head on a rock, killing him instantly. Vic then drags Tony's body to the riverbank, takes his wallet, and weighs down his body with a large rock before drowning him in the river. After killing Tony, Vic returned home and acted as if nothing had happened. He even celebrated with his daughter by raising a toast. The following day, Vic decided to take his wife and child on a picnic to the same location where he had encountered Tony. It was there that Vic surprised Melinda with a romantic gesture, presenting her with an album filled with her old photographs. On the last page, he penned a heartfelt declaration of his love for her, hoping to mend their relationship. Later, while searching for Trixie by the riverbank, Vic was startled to see Tony's lifeless body resurfacing in the water. Worried, Vic swiftly escorted his family home. Unfortunately, Melinda discovered she had left her favorite scarf behind and expressed her wish to go back for it. Vic reassured her that he'd return alone to retrieve the scarf. After getting home, Melinda went into Vic's snail room and found Tony's wallet, making her think Vic might have killed Tony. She called Don and told him about it, mentioning where Vic was. Meanwhile, Vic struggled to hide Tony's body, but failed. Suddenly, Don showed up with Melinda's scarf and approached Vic, only to be shocked by Tony's hand emerging from the water. Realizing what happened, Don ran off to report it to the police. Vic tried to chase him, causing Don to crash and die. Despite this, Vic went back to cycling as usual. When he got home, Melinda smiled at him, but left silently. Inside, she burned 2 pictures of Tony, and that was the end of it.